Good morning to all, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbia Online, a congregation striving to embody courageous love, radical welcome, and deep connection. I'm Tim Dickerson, your worship associate this morning, and I am so glad to welcome you to our community. We are grateful this morning in our online worship to be able to connect with many folks from Missouri and beyond. Wherever you are connecting, we welcome you. A few comments about protocol for today's online worship. We are in Zoom and streaming live on Facebook. We are in Zoom webinar mode, so we can't hear or see you, but you are able to say hello and interact with the service through the chat feature on Zoom and the comments on Facebook. If you're with us on Zoom, make sure you select panelists and attendees so everyone can see your comment. This will be particularly useful if you wish to share a joy or sorrow when we reach that portion of the service. A few notes about accessibility. We are using Zoom's native auto captioning service, which means you will see automatically generated subtitles at the bottom of your screen. If you prefer, you can hide or alter the subtitles by clicking the closed caption button on your screen. We know that auto captioning is never entirely accurate, but we hope it is close enough to be helpful. We will also be providing spoken descriptions of the videos and images we use, and we'd like to invite you to please contact us if you have any other accessibility or inclusion needs that we can strive to meet in our online worship. If this is your first time worshiping with us, we'd like to invite you to fill out a digital visitor's card at the link provided in the chat. Let us know a little bit about yourself. Now for this morning's service, please take a deep breath, find a comfortable position for your body, and sink into this time of inspiration in this space of renewal with the help of our musicians.
In unison.
In these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be dancing, always be dancing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be dancing, always be dancing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be laughing, always be laughing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be laughing, always be laughing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be singing, always be dancing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be listening, always be listening. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be listening, always be listening. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Molly Housh Gordon, the minister of this congregation. And this morning we are thinking together about hope. Our opening words are a poem that I wrote during sabbatical time entitled "The Hope We Make." There is a hope that springs up in us, like wildflowers, like honeysuckle. It roots in the solar plexus. Its flowers wind their way up the throat to salve the tightness behind our eyes. Sometimes this hope is honey sweet, turning the world liquid gold with the possibility of thriving, justice, good for all whom we love, and love that grows and grows. But sometimes this hope is cruel and overgrown. Cancer cells don't listen to hope, and addiction often seems immune. Brutality persists, and if hope is a climbing honeysuckle, we could choke on its false and cloying sweetness. But there is also a hope that we make, knitting it together from casseroles and protest signs, from open doors and linked arms, from seeds planted in the ground and tears that are shared. It is held together with loose knots, this hope we make. And some of us don't really know how to knit, but we patch it up all the same, with hesitant gestures, clumsy offers of small goodness, and making amends. If we need to step away, the hope we make lets us go. But it is waiting, draped over the back of the chair. Someone will bring it to us without fail, if we will let them see our need. I'd like to invite you now to join in singing from home our gathering hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us, which is performed in this video by the worship band of the Grand River Unitarian congregation in Ontario, Canada. The video shows the musicians of the band spread across 6 squares on a black background, playing piano, keyboard, drums, bass, and trumpet, as well as singing. Please enjoy and sing along as you are moved.
Trials, hope inspires.
We now light our chalice, the symbol of our faith in the community that holds us, and the bright flame of the human spirit that unites us. As we share an image of our church chalice on the screen, you may wish to light a candle at home or look in the chat for a digital chalice. Please join me in lifting your voices in homes across our city, country, and world to share our weekly words of affirmation shown on the slide and shared in the chat. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another.
Good morning. There's a pattern I've noticed with some of my friends. I call it apocalypse fantasizing. It is marked by an absolute cynicism that complete societal collapse is in any way preventable. And then more than that, there's an almost longing for that day when it does all collapse, when we are given permission to fully and completely give up hope and stop trying. There is a sense that it will be a relief to stop having to deal with the constant frustration of other people letting us down, of this world breaking our heart again and again and again. And I understand this feeling. I really, really do. But it also makes me angry. An anger that is actually really a desperate, pleading love. How dare you give up on us? We need you, all of you, fighting with us with your whole heart, believing that this fight matters. Not all of us have the ability or the resources to go it alone. We need you. Please don't give up on us. Please don't give up on hope. Please. I have a complicated relationship with hope. I don't think there is a feeling that hurts me more than having my hopes dashed. And for a long time, I went around saying I was a person who didn't believe in hope. And then many years ago, Reverend Molly preached on what hope can mean for those of us who don't believe in divine intervention. And it really changed the way I looked at and understood hope. What most stuck with me was a poem she read called "The Thing Is" by Ellen Bass. After talking about how the world breaks our heart and grief overwhelms us, the poem goes on to say, you think, how can a body withstand this? Then you hold life like a face between your palms, a plain face, no charming smile, no violet eyes. And you say, yes, I will take you. I will love you again. Hope for me is not a belief that everything will work out. It is a choice to keep loving the world and giving yourself to it. And at every dark moment where I feel despair, when I look around, I find another small invitation to love the world again. This week it was coming around a bend in the road on Stadium Boulevard. And there was something about the trees and the bluffs that reminded me just how dear this little corner of the world has become to me. And a trip to the farmer's market where I saw so many familiar faces and remembered just how dear the people in this community have become to me. So for our century, I want us to imagine this world, this flawed and beautiful world, held tenderly between the palms of our hands, like a face, with laugh lines and worry lines, furrows from frustration, infinite sadness in the eyes, so many blemishes, and still so much beauty. And just take a moment to gaze deeply. And now, remember what recently has called you back into love. And if you want to share in the chat, I will read them aloud. Dancing to Beyonce at the public pool on a brutally hot day. My neighbor putting out a box of produce grown from their garden for anyone to take as they drove by. Singing it to classic Elton John during my drive home from school. Watching the cottonwoods shimmer madly in the slightest breeze. Seeing the wild turkey come back for a visit, biking with our whole family on Thursday after 9 days without Era. Seeing my shrubs recover after a good soaking. Watching a puppy play in the backyard. Grandkid hugs. All of this and more. Yes, I will take you. I will love you again.
As we share an image of our church, wrong one. And now we share an image of lit candles and our joys and sorrow stones on the screen. I'd like to invite you to bring your loving attention and compassionate presence to our community as we share the joys, sorrows, and prayers of our community. Let us hold one another in our heart across the distance. We join our hearts with Kevin McKieran and concern for his older son, Colin, who tested positive for COVID on Friday. We join our hearts with Reverend Molly in healing wishes for her mother-in-law, who is sick with COVID breakthrough infection, for several friends and colleagues' children who have tested positive for COVID this week, and for her 1-year-old godson, Oscar, who is currently hospitalized for breathing treatment with croup. Let us lift up prayer of well-being for the people of Louisiana, bracing for Hurricane Ida, particularly amid the traumatic anniversary of Hurricane Katrina 16 years ago, and for the people of Mexico experiencing Hurricane Nora. We mourn the loss of American service members, Afghan civilians, and all those lost to violence in Afghanistan. We hold the people of Afghanistan in our heart in this dangerous time. We lift up prayers of safety, health, and full well-being for our children, families, teachers, and school staff who returned to school last week amid continuing pandemic conditions. And now I will read the joys and sorrows that are shared in our chat. Caden Ensign shares that they have an interview. Charles Sweeney shares sadness for a friend's son now on hospice for a brain tumor. Roger and Kathy are thankful for coming home after 3 weeks and seeing the garden still alive thanks to a good neighbor. Tonette Repetto is thankful and joyful for finally being able to see and hold my grandson who was born 5 weeks ago. That's awesome. Mindy has thoughts of love and support for a friend dealing with the death of her son. Jackie shares concern for her sister who is recovering very slowly from serious surgery. Rebecca, Graves, and Pack share joy for a lovely visit with daughter Zoe and her fiance Lucas. Christine Heath shares good thoughts for her daughter's boyfriend who has breakthrough COVID, and joy for my other daughter who finally has new job with good health care and benefits. And I'd like to share a sorrow in the passing of my grandmother, Elizabeth Maud White, who passed away this Tuesday, but thankful that she is no longer suffering at the same token. May the love of our community be an active kind of hope, lifting up the fullness of life and carrying on together through all that life may bring. Amen.
This morning, we say farewell to Jeremy Wagner, who has served as our music director these past 2 years through quite wild and crazy times. We want to celebrate and congratulate Jeremy for his emerging teaching career, conducting middle and high school choirs in the Kansas City area. And we want to take a moment now in our service to send him off with our blessings. And can we all see Jeremy? I'm checking. Will you look there and see? Okay, great. Hi, Jeremy. So I'm going to begin with a blessing for you, and then I would like to invite folks in the chat to share their blessings as well, and I'm going to read them to you. Jeremy, may your contagious love of music spread wildly in those you teach. May your inherent kindness nurture the flourishing of the young people in your care. May your enthusiasm awaken new creative springs in every life you touch. And may your passionate commitment to justice create a better world for your students and for all of us. We celebrate your gifts and send you on to share them with many, many, many young lives. I'd like to welcome now the blessings of our congregation. You can type them in the chat and I'll read them aloud to Jeremy. And I have here a blessing that's actually a limerick from Steve and Joan Mudrick. This has become a tradition for Steve and Joan to share limericks with parting staff. And so here from Steve and Joan. It's been lots of fun singing with you. We provided a challenge, that's true. You improved us a lot, believe it or not. All the best in whatever you do. And the time you must leave us is here. We wish you good fortune and cheer. We'll try not to cry as we say goodbye. In our hearts, you'll always be near. And I'm scrolling. Robin Duple shares gratitude for all your beautiful music. We'll give others a moment to type. Carol sends blessings of singers to sing with wherever you are. Thanks for so much, but especially for the recent sing-alongs. Another loved one shares, may all be well for you and yours, and may you bless and be blessed by the joy of music always. Candy blesses that your alto section may always be robust. Melissa and Caden share congratulations on the new job. You will touch the lives of many children and young people. Meredith shares, we've been so enriched by the music you helped create for our church. Mindy shares thanks for the gift of your beautiful voice. The constant of you singing our benediction will forever be a treasured memory. Jackie shares that we'll miss you. We've been blessed to enjoy your music for these years. Alan shares gratitude for your patience as a conductor and your bright presence among us. Carry on. These blessings and many more we share with you in gratitude for your time and your music among us. And we're going to share a parting song for Jeremy that he conducted with our virtual choir earlier last spring, A Gaelic Blessing by John Rudder. Our virtual choir is pictured in the video along with beautiful nature images of flowers and sunshine. Please enjoy, and thank you, Jeremy. Bravo to the choir and to Jeremy. Our blessings with you. Instead of a reading this morning, we are giving you a vocal anthem as our sacred text. This song is by the Bengsons, a partnered singer-songwriter duo made up of Abigail and Sean Bengson. They wrote the following song, Hope Comes, for a summit of mental health healers. They are pictured in the video sitting next to each other, a white woman with gray streaked dark curly hair and red lipstick and a big smile, and a white man with blonde hair and beard and glasses. The man plays a guitar and sings backup while the woman sings with great expression. Please enjoy.
Hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. The part of you that is not all right, yeah, is also the part that loves the light. And the part of you that is suffering is the part that calls in change. And you don't have to feel ashamed. There is nothing to forgive. The part of you that is crying out is the part that wants to live. Yeah, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. When your world is burning down, well, getting hot is a sane reaction, but one in need of action, because your spirit needs protection. So gather up your sinew and gather up your faction. Hope is not a feeling, hope is an action. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes. We are not all right. I said, hope comes. We are not all right. I'm gonna fall down on my knees.
That's not living.
I'm gonna say, will you help me please?
That's not living.
I'm gonna say I'm not all right.
That's not living.
I'm just trying to make it through this night. Yeah.
That's not living.
I'm gonna fall down on my knees. Yeah. Oh, will we say, help me please? Help me please. We can say, hey, we are not all right. We are not all right. We can help each other get through the night. Because hope comes from the center of the hurt, in the middle of the dirt. We'll plant a seed and watch it grow into something we don't already know.
Y'all, it has been a doozy of well, I was gonna say week, but then I thought I should say month, and then probably it should be year, and more specifically, it should be 18 months. But for many, it's been much longer. Lifetimes, generations. So I'm preaching about hope today. And let's get this part out of the way and just list the things we've felt despair about in the last week. I'll start. You can feel free to just add to this cathartic dump in the chat. The new climate report, The ways we see it living all around us in more severe weather, record heat, wildfires, earthquake, and more. The Delta spike ravaging our state, country, and world in all the ways it has been driven by anti-collective behavior at personal, state, and national levels. The 20-year tragedy of American destabilization in Afghanistan, the tragedies our meddling intensifies all over the world, the floods of refugees and how poorly we treat them in response, the clinging power of white supremacy and Christian nationalism, the systematic stripping of voter rights, the seemingly intractable violence of capitalism. If I'm going to preach about hope, I should probably stop there. Suffice it to say that when I want to preach about hope, I also have to think about despair. And so I've been thinking about it and how despair is not usually a thing we choose. Despair comes over us. It comes over us when our serotonin is out of whack. And it comes over us when our lives are deeply difficult. And it comes over us when the world around us is so cruel. To think about hope with any depth, you have to think about the relationship of despair and hope. So here's a thing I've been thinking. Hope is not the happy mirror of despair, a thing that springs up in us unbidden, whether prompted by brain chemistry or the world around us. Hope is not the happy mirror of despair, and it is mostly not something that just comes over us. Hope is an action. In other words, I've come to believe that hope is not really a feeling. It is a response. Chosen, practiced, tended, created, acted out, clawed toward, nurtured, and especially held by community. And I have also come to believe that hope does not eliminate our despair, but transfigures it into wholeness, into depth, into power, into action. So these days, I'm not so interested in the hope that springs up in us. Who can access that right now? But I am obsessed with the hope we make, even in and through our grief and lament. I think it is our salvation, balm, and pathway to liberation, this wise, world-worn hope that we make together. I think this because great teachers from every margin of our societies have reminded us in so many ways and modalities that they don't have time for the cynicism or self-defeat of the well-meaning but privileged. That hopelessness is a strategy of empire. And that the individualization of hope is also a strategy of empire, who would love for us to believe that it's just a feeling we personally do or do not have by luck or history, rather than something that rises up and is sustained in deep community and connection between us. Hope is something we create together. Hope is something we take turns carrying for each other when each of us inevitably becomes weary. Those who stand in the way of liberation would prefer for us to feel helpless in the face of our despair, to sit separate and alone with it, to throw up our hands and slink out of their way. They would prefer our cynicism and defeat, and especially our isolation, with it. And if they cannot achieve that, they would prefer us to abstract ourselves from our despair, to frame it as a dysfunctional mental state that we can meditate or manifest our way out of, rather than a deeply embodied state of communal lament in a world of deep injustice. I want to tell you today that our despair can be right and true, that it is collective, that it is met by the choice of our community to keep showing up, keep chipping away, keep holding each other in tenderness and accountability alike, keep holding the face of the world and choosing to love it, and that those choices are hope. The Bingsons just sang us some truth. Hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. Our hope is chosen, it is active, it is made in community, and it is specifically not a denial or escape from despair into some invented positivity, but the transformation of despair into energy for change. Hopelessness and isolation are the strategies of empire. Shared hope is our refusal. Let us defy them with our fierce, chosen, and collective hope. Let us defy them by releasing this idea of hope as a lifted feeling, optimism, or forced positivity that lives in individuals apart from their connections. Let us defy them by grabbing each other's hands and together grasping onto the hope that we make with one another in the mud, tested and worn. Because the hope that has seen some things is the hope we need now. The hope that just keeps living when everything around is shouting to give up. The hope that scrabbles away through isolation and back into the arms of community. The hope that shows up at the meeting, in the childcare room, in front of the computer even. As we were preparing for this service, Jamila told me a story from the fashion design show Project Runway, an episode where the designers are paired up to work together on a project that is, as they often are, too difficult to achieve in the allotted time. One pair of designers on this episode was Kara and Zulima. And at one point in the challenge, Kara had a little meltdown, as many contestants often would. She was cutting fabric when she stopped and broke down crying, saying it couldn't be done. Zulima urged her to come back to the work and finish it, saying, "We don't have time for you to stop. If you need to cry, then cry, but cry and cut. Cry and cut." If hope is the transfiguration of despair, then simply continuing to do the work in front of us is a form of hope. We can grieve, we can be deeply sad and deeply angry. Our lament is justified and necessary, and all of it lives together with this active kind of hope. The rivers are flooding, and the wildflowers are so beautiful this year. Cry and cut. Our marches fail to change policy, and they keep us whole and connected. Cry and cut. There is so much violence, and every one of us loves our families so fiercely. Cry and cut. People can be so cruel and self-serving and also so unimaginably generous. Cry and cut. Don't stop. We will despair, we will hope all at once, and we will keep going. There is no other way. I'd like to invite you to sing together. Our hymn is Come Sing a Song With Me, led here by me and my helpers. The video pictures a white woman with red hair singing with a pale blonde child squirming in her lap. There are dishes clanking in the background and a decision to not let the perfect be the enemy of the cute. The lyrics are laid on the bottom of this video in white text, and we'll also post them in the chat. Please sing from home as you're moved. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Thank you, Margot and Nora and Reverend Molly. I can't wait till September when the children can return to our outdoor RE and can be a part of what brings us hope here at UUCC. When I first became a UU in North Carolina, my church was very involved in an effort to unionize farm workers, involved a boycott and leafleting in front of grocery stores every Thursday evening. By the time I got involved, the boycott had already gone on for several years. And I joined them for those weekly leafleting events almost every Thursday for the next 4 years. And I'll tell you a secret. I didn't really think we would succeed. No one was more surprised than me when we got a call. A contract has been signed. There is a union. So I was thinking this week, where was hope in this story? Why did I keep showing up? I am not someone who is able to believe that if we try hard enough and believe in hope, we'll arrive at the outcome we want, guaranteed. And most especially, I don't believe that an outside force will deliver us the outcome we want if we just hold fiercely enough to hope. I have been disappointed too many times, have seen people give their all and not achieve what they were striving for too many times in the course of human history to believe in this kind of hope. So for me, hope is not about believing in a particular outcome. Hope to me is the belief that what we do in this world makes a difference, that it matters, not in ways that we maybe expected, not on the timeline that we planned for, but it matters. It mattered to be in community with farm workers, to be in solidarity with them, to week after week tell grocery shoppers about the dignity and humanity of farm workers. There is the expression that the means are the ends in the making. And that is hope, that we are creating something that matters right now with every action we take. So I want to invite you in the chat to share somewhere you are finding this sort of hope, where we are reminded again that what we do matters. And I'll start for me this week. My brother is an attorney for people on death row, and he was arguing a case that went to the California Supreme Court that would have prevented the execution of his client and many other people. And he lost that case this week. And he was devastated. And he spent an evening being devastated. And he spent the next morning sleeping off that evening of being devastated. And then he went back to work. And that to me is hope. So where are you seeing hope this week? Robin says it gives her hope to see more people masking. And I saw numbers of new vaccinations this morning. That definitely gave me hope as well. And Reverend Molly shares in the volunteers helping us figure out how to be and do church in this iteration of pandemic life. Not how we wanted to do it, but how we can right now. Megan says, I am seeing hope in having a good family lawyer for a trial on Tuesday for my daughter. And Candy sees hope in a new group of students who are determined to finish their degrees no matter what. And Chuck Swaney sees hope in wildflowers coming up from seeds in a meadow that he has planted. And Rebecca Graves sees hope in the Hickman High School teacher who is helping one student in getting community help for 29 more. I see hope in a restaurant that provided thousands of meals for newly arriving refugees in Washington, D.C. The Johnson family sees hope in a farm covered in thriving trees. May we continue remembering that what we do matters. That the lovely man who adopted a cat with medical needs matters, and that we create hope together.
Now is the time in our service when we join in the spiritual practice of generosity, guiding our hearts away from the fear and scarcity all around us, remembering that it is by sharing and supporting one another that we feel most human, that giving and sharing with one another is another way that we create hope. Our offertory this morning is a recording of the Chapin Sisters' song, "So the World Can Sing Along," performed by the virtual choir of the Unitarian Society of Brooklyn. The multiracial choir is pictured each in their own square in the video, alongside close-ups of a piano and a guitar. The lyrics are overlaid in white text. We invite you to give to the active hope of our community as you are able, as you enjoy the song.
We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing till the world can hear the song, till the world can sing along. We will not stop marching. We will not stop marching. We will not stop marching till the world can hear the song, till the world can sing along. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along.
Our closing words are by the Reverend Wayne Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Dear ones, we are with you across the distance, creating hope together with you down in the muck of these times. Go in blessing and be a blessing to a world that needs our care. And Jeremy is going to sing us out one last time. Please join in singing our benediction from home. The words will appear on the screen and in the chat.
Now on leaving one another, may we give of hand and heart. Let us share our benediction lovingly before we part.
Thank you, Jeremy. Our best wishes with you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. It was good to be together, creating a little hope on this Sunday morning. I'd like to invite you to join us for coffee hour at the link that will come up in the chat. The meeting ID and passcode are on the screen. Coffee hour is your chance to see one another, chat together in small breakout rooms, and catch up a bit as we continue our ministry in this way. We will be back online on Sunday, September 5th at the same time. And then the 12th, we're going to be beginning our multi-platform reality with online worship at 9:30, outdoor worship at 10:30 at the church grounds. Please join us in whatever way you feel comfortable and able. We can't wait to see you then. Take care.